This is my colleague Anna. We're here today at the FKCCI Consular meet with respect to promoting better business relations between Germany and India and vice versa. So we're really looking forward to the event and meeting some key people to promote better business for Karnataka and with respect to Germany also. Actually, we have been quite in touch with the FKCCI, with the Indo-German Chamber of Commerce also. We have had past events also, but this year we need to improve more, so that's also one of my objectives of being here. Personally, I have not yet met Mr. Ravi, but my boss, Mr. Sumit Sharma, is the regional director of the German Chamber of Commerce. He has had considerable relations. We don't have a football team, but we do organize a charity football event once a year in February, and all the revenues from the match go to Shanti Bhavan. It is a school for the underprivileged. I think it's in Audugudi area.
Planned traders versus FKCCI football match.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I mean, the next match we'll be, of course, having in February, and the planning will begin from August onwards, so we'll definitely reach out to you.
Hi everybody, from Germany, and I'm also working at the chamber right now for the news or at so many things, and yeah, I'm happy to be here and to promote the relationship between India and Germany.
The objective which that the global reach, that is what the fund is creating. There is every country will be participating in the business. Leaders will be interacting with the trade partners. The objective of this particular meeting is to share the experiences and to share the objective of this meeting is to have an interaction with both the trade and commerce along with the consulates and the ambassadors. In the process, we get to know about what sort of funds we can get for the industry, and besides, how we can increase the trade for the Karnataka. That is what the objective of which we want to introduce.
Good evening. My name is Hitesh Agarwal. I'm the Commissioner for Queensland Government in India. This is my first FKCCI Consular meet. I'm honored to be on the panel along with my peers from various other countries. I look forward to sharing our thoughts about where does the Queensland government play a role in the Indian growth, and where are the other opportunities for both India and Australia to progress further in the bilateral relationship. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
FKCCI, in my short time at the helm of Queensland government, has come across as a very proactive and active industry representative chamber. There hasn't been a week without them having an activity or two. I think Ravi has really led from the front in terms of presenting it as a very important industry chamber and association representative. As far as India Australia are concerned, they are at a cusp of a wonderful moment where both countries recognize the importance of engaging with each other much more closely, given their common love for, I would say, the game of cricket, but more importantly, the commonalities that both countries have, and apart from being part of the Commonwealth. So I see the growth of the relationship going multifold forward. There would be a very big announcement from Australia in the near future where Australia is releasing its India economic strategy written by the Minister of Commerce and Mr. Peter Burgess, and I think both the countries should be looking forward to it. I think we all have to create a team and then have a massive players that we do. But I know in the end of this year, sorry, the next year beginning, there is going to be a lot of cricket engagement between the countries, both sides to each other. And in fact, Australia is going to be running a festival called Ozfest in India for 6 months starting in October. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, good evening, my name is Jean-François Ambrosio. I am Trade and Investment Commissioner for South India at the French Consulate, in charge of the trade and investment activities. So we help French companies to work in India, to invest in India, and to export to India, but we also help Indian investors to go to France and to set up activities in France. The Trade Commission in India is composed of 4 offices: Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, and 40 people. And we've been working over the last couple of years with the chambers of commerce all over India, including the Federation of Chambers of Commerce from Karnataka. So, concerning the relationship with FKCCI, we've been working on a few events over the last couple of years, and we always have been happy with the result and the interaction between our Trade Commission and FKCCI.
Past president of FKCCI. This Consular Night is an event of FKCCI happening for the last 4-5 years. So the idea is that, Bangalore has become an international famous city, and there are 500 top companies who have established offices here, R&D centers here, and every one of the country is vying to have an office here. The connect is the consul general, and with that connect we go places. You want a visa it is the Consul General who is getting it. If you want an industry connect, it is the Consul General who is arranging it. If you want a joint venture to happen, he does the job. Recently, the Czech Consul General told me that they do the market survey also for us. If you name a company, the entire antecedents of the company,
Due diligence.
they will do free of charge for us. All this is becoming possible because we connect with it. And that is what this Consul does.
Good evening, delighted to be here. My name's James Godber. I work in the British Deputy High Commission, here to talk about the new partnerships launched by our Prime Ministers, UK and Indian Prime Ministers, when Prime Minister Modi visited London back in April. In terms of the specifics of the trade relationship with India, we're looking to deliver a great deal through the new technology partnerships that we're launching. That's going to be a focus for a lot of the work that we're doing here in Bengaluru. Not really a surprise, given Bengaluru's status as the sort of heart and hub of all things technology here in India. And delighted, as I say, to be here at the FKCCI event to talk about what we're doing in the UK and how we're looking to work together.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Deputy Consul at the Consulate here in Bangalore. I've been here for about a year. I'm very pleased to be here this evening. This is the second time that I've interacted with the Chamber. Myself and my Consul General had the opportunity to speak to the Chamber about 6 months ago. So I'm looking forward to re-engaging with some of the people in Bangalore and finding out how we can do more together.
Hello, I'm Michelle Wade. I'm the Commissioner for South Asia for the state of Victoria from Australia. Victoria has a very strong relationship with India and with the state of Connecticut, and we have an office here in Bangalore. It's our first and our largest office in India. Victoria is home to more Indian nationals than any other state of Australia, and we also have double the number of students of any other state. Just recently, the government launched the India-Victoria strategy, and we aim through economics and business to grow our relationship with India. We've got some great companies from India already in Victoria, the likes of Wipro and Infosys, and we're very proud that Kiran Mazumdar from Viacom is herself an alumni from Ballarat University in Victoria, and we're proud that she's the business ambassador for Victoria in
The relationship with our consulate and Karnataka Chamber of Commerce is started just a few months ago because this organization established the Japanese language course, and that's where I started associating with them. Until that time, I didn't know this language. Now, he asked me to speak about trade relationship, and maybe I'm just going to trade is a nation-to-nation relationship, and I just cannot specify whether Karnataka state is trading with Japan how much. And what I know is that ever since Toyota came here 20 years ago, Japanese investment here came to about $3 billion, attracting so many companies, factories. And now we have about 500 companies and 1,300 Japanese residents. And that affected a lot of working ethics, culture. It hasn't changed much, but to some extent, which have an influence on the Japanese culture, that they have changed their working ethics. Of course, then Japanese restaurant, maybe 20 years ago there was only one, now it's almost 7, and now it can, if you count on Asian, including Japanese, that comes to already 20. So our process has become very reasonably good size.
Managing Council member, FKCCI. I'm a first generation entrepreneur, running my industry for 50 years now. Today it's a good occasion for us to be with the Consular Generals who are based in Bangalore. It's been a practice in FKCCI that once in a year we always have one of these programs. We always release it. It's a good opportunity for consulates also to interact with us, and we have a good interaction with them. Thank you.
I'm Ramesh Chandra Lahoti. I represented food and APMCs, and I'm associated with FKCCI, the largest body in Karnataka, the premium body which covers all the state of Karnataka, and I'm looking for this evening to meet and interact with the consulates so that trade bilateral relations can grow more. Thank you.
I am François Gauthier. I am the French Consul General in Bangalore. We interact on a very regular basis with FKCCI, as one of our goals here is to strengthen and improve the trade relation between France and India, especially France and Karnataka. FKCCI has been a great help on that. France and French companies are already doing pretty well in Karnataka, but we are very confident they will do more thanks to the relationship we are being built under the umbrella of the Indian business community and FKCCI. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, my name is Elodie Texier. I'm the Deputy Consul at the French Consulate. So I'm happy to be here tonight. Thank you very much for the invitation. I know my colleague from Business France, which is a French trade agency, will be doing a short presentation tonight on the interest between France and India. So I let him develop a bit more on the subject, but thank you for inviting us and hope we'll have a great evening.
Good evening. I am Kallam Arjatana. I am the past president of Federation of Karnataka Chamber of Commerce. I am the centenary president of FKCCI. It celebrated 100 years during my presidency. This consular meet we are having regularly every year to interact with the different consulates. Even our there is a lot of delegations going to foreign countries and we visit different consulates and diplomats in their respective countries. We are the bridge between trade, commerce and industry and the government of Karnataka. Thank you.
It's Balkishna ಅಂತ FKCCI member. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ದಿನ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಡಿಮಾನಿಟೈಸೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಟ್ರೇಡರ್ಸ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಭಾಳ ಡೌನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕಾಯ್ತು ಸರ್ ಅದನ್ನು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ.
ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಅರ್ಜುನ್ ಎಚ್ ಪಟೇಲ್ ಮಂಡ್ಯ. ನಾನು ಈ ಚೇಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾಮರ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಕಳೆದ 15 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ. ಮತ್ತು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸಾಮೀಲ್ ಮಾಲೀಕರ ಮಹಾಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷನಾಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಈ ನಮ್ಮ FKCCIಗಳ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳು ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಸಣ್ಣ ಕೈಗಾರಿಕೆಗಳು MSMEs ಏನಿದೆ ಅವರನ್ನು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಯುಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಉಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಇದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಏನು ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆ, ಕಾನ್ಸುಲೇಟ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಕೆಲವು ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೊರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಒಂದು ಅವಕಾಶಗಳಿದೆ ಆ ಅವಕಾಶಗಳು ಆ ದೇಶದ ಕಾನ್ಸುಲೇಟ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಕೆಲವು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಲ್ಟಿನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಬೆಳೆಸಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶದ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದ ಇಂಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ನಾವು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಮೇನ್ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಇದೆ. ಇದು ಭಾಳ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಇದೆ. ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಭವಿಷ್ಯದಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊರ ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಿಂದ ಏನು ಮೇಕ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾನೋ ಮೇಕ್ ಇನ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಏನಿದೆ ಆ ಪದಾರ್ಥಗಳು ಆ ಒಂದು ಸರಕುಗಳು ಹೊರ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಆದ್ರೇ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದ ಭವಿಷ್ಯ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಾನು ಈ ಒಂದು ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ತಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಹೇಳಲು ಬಯಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
My name is Devji Bhai H. Patel. I represent all Karnataka Timber Federation as a General Secretary since 16 years. And one more, All India Timber Federation Vice President. The thing is, the chamber is taking care of so many things, but still we have to do so many other jobs, so many things that our exports should improve in the coming future. Not only make in India, the Modi's dream, we have to make in Karnataka. We are insisting for that, and we will see that it is done in the coming future. And if all hands get together, we will certainly succeed in all these things. Moreover, for creating more and more employment, these things are very important. Small industries have to be encouraged, and it has to be encouraged even by the government of Karnataka in the coming future, so that we should not rely on the center. We have to take care of ourselves to come up. Only if we just ask center, no. We have to do ourselves at the Karnataka level to generate good opportunities for youngsters, especially women. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Bakkar from Wheattown Aqua Green Technologies. I'm the managing director. We do specialty projects, especially for waste to energy and waste to reuse application, liquid as well as solid. We convert all the waste effluent back to reusable condition to process application. It will be more or less
just like clear water what you are getting from the borewell. These can be applicable to all type of effluents. Effluent discharged from the industry can be converted into reusable quality water. And the biggest advantage of this product is it is one of the latest technology by using electrowave technology, electrowave application, in which case the plant is fully automatic and no manpower is required for the operation of this plant. Completely 100% remote base, this plant can be operated. And these plants are available in modular condition. It is a ready to fix plant at the factory site. Only the inlet water is to be given. You will give the clear water in the storage tank. And the complete operation and maintenance will be managed by the company with a group of skilled people using the latest IoT and AI. All these facilities are available. And we do have a commercial plant for this application. And we conduct tests at customer's place to show him the quality of the water which is available after treatment. Since it is one of the most advanced technology, we satisfy the customers by giving the treated water samples so that they are making sure that the quality of the treated water, what they are getting, is meeting to their standard in addition to the standard prescribed by the Pollution Control Board or Government of India.
Rolling, sir.
Yeah.
Mike ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಮೇಡಮ್ ಓಕೆ ಸರ್ ಓಕೆ
Okay. We do have a planning to give a plan, ready-made plan to the companies where they will give the money for the quantity of the water treated and without any investment on the project. For this is our long-term planning, and for this application, we are looking for investors into our company, not for the technology, to our company. We have the complete technology, we have the manpower, we have the facility, we have the know-how. And since we are planning to set up at least 4 to 5 plants to established companies in a BOT basis, so that we will maintain the complete plant on a remote basis, and they will get the clear water. And there is no hassle for the companies because this is operated and run by our company. And there is no special operator is required at this site. And this is a fully automatic and first of its kind in India for smaller application. And we are planning this process for 50,000 to say 5 lakh liters water per day processing applications. This is what is the thing which I am looking from today's meeting and the contacts. In today's meeting, what is my expectation is, we feel that these council generals will support us to implement a project like this in a state, especially in Karnataka, particular to Bangalore, because according to the surveys, Bangalore will be a dry state for water within a couple of years. So unless we take an initial action like this from the beginning itself, it will be a disastrous condition. So we feel that the council generals will support our plans like this, so that all the industries can reuse their water to the maximum extent without any initial investment. And another advantage of this plan is it is portable and it can be shifted any area or any site whenever they require it. Thank you.
My name is Suresh Kumar. I am the chairman of the International Business Committee at FKCCI. This is an event, annual event at FKCCI where we have a network with all the consulars, mostly who are situated in Bangalore as well as other places. Apart from the consular thing, we try to be in touch with the trade missions, then the honorary consulars. This is actually we started with this thing so that we have a camaraderie with the trade and industry, because we FKCCI we have about 3,000 members, so there should be a connection between that and the foreign offices like this. That was the idea, but it is proving to be a boon to our members. because we get a lot of inputs from those people and we have a lot of connections. It becomes easy to do international trade and business. That's the
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Suresh Kumar. I am the chairman of the International Business Committee of FKCCI for this year. Happy welcome to all of you. Let us start the program right away. I would request our President, Mr. K. Ravi, to deliver his welcome address. Thank you.
Good evening to all of you.
Good evening. Good evening.
I welcome you all for today's Consular's meet. Thank you very much for coming here. It is my pleasure on behalf of FKCCI to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We have a number of dignitaries here. Mr. Takayuki Kitagawa-san, the Consul General of Japan. Francois Gautier, Consul General de France. In fact, the Consul General of Japan was not feeling that well, but still he has come here, sir. Thank you very much for coming over here, sir. And Mr. Francois is on the way back to France, I think, for a holiday, and he's taking the night flight, but still he's here. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Elodie Texier, Deputy Consul, France. Mr. Gian Francois Ambrosio, Director, Business, France, South India and Sri Lanka, and Trade and Investment Commissioner, France. Mr. Geetesh Agarwal, Trade and Investment Commissioner, Queensland, Australia. Mrs. Michelle Wade, Commissioner, South Asia, Trade and Investment State, Government of Victoria, Australia. My colleagues, Sri Sudhakar Shetty, President-elect FKCCI, Mr. C.R. Janardana, Senior Vice President-elect, Mr. D. Suresh Kumar, Chairman of the International Business Committee, Mr. I.S. Prasad and Mr. Murthy, who have coordinated for this particular event, and a host of honorary consul generals. Probably we have Mr. Mohan Suresh, we have so many others, this was of the IGCC earlier, and probably the passport officer we have, Bharat Kumar, who's taken the place of Karthikeyan. I welcome each one of you for today's meeting. It has been a very long personal association I have had with the consulate for the past 8 years. While most of you, we have been bumping in here and there, most of the programs organized by the honorary consuls or the consulates for their Republic Day or the Independence Day, I have been a party to it. We have met you all for quite a number of times, and I would like to say that with most of you, we enjoy a very cordial relationship, as I was also the chairman of the Consular night some few years back. Sir, as far as FKCCI is concerned, 100 years ago our founder Sir M. Vishweshwaraya was assigned the task to construct a dam by the King of Mysore state. He toured around the world twice and came up with a brilliant dam which is known as KRS Dam. He built a beautiful musical fountain garden called Vrindavan, which I am sure you all know of it. It was this visionary genius who sowed the seeds of innovation and industrial progress. Today, the ethos has made the state of Karnataka and Bangalore as a startup capital and a global city, which has given great innovators, scientists and entrepreneurs. I took charge as the president of this august institution on the 1st of July 2017, and in fact I was the first practicing chartered accountant to become a president in the last 101 years. And now my term is coming to an end on the 29th of this month, and the new president, Mr. Sudhakar Shetty, will take over. I think we have this is one of the biggest programs before we have the annual general meeting. I must thank all of you for the excellent support that you have extended. The relationship with all of you has been really fantastic. I have had many of you coming to the chamber for interactive sessions, and I can only say that these interactions, whether it is Mr. Francois of France, we had Mr. Sebastian of Swiss, then we also have Madam from the Canadian government, and we also have the Queensland Trade Commissioner and the ZEC Trade Commissioner. All these people have been on and off coming to the FKCCI for an interactive sessions with our members. In fact, this year we also had the privilege of hosting the US-India Trade Conference, which was held at the West End, and we had a lot of interactions with the ambassador. Apart from that, I also would like to mention to you that we had delegations from Ukraine, we had the Royal Brunei Airlines coming over here, we had the Austrian delegation, we had the China and Singapore RT ASEAN group of professionals coming, we had the Taiwan city officials coming to our chamber, and also the Korean Trade Office. We have had many of these interactive meetings with the Consul Generals and the Trade Commissioner. I would like to specially mention that some of our relationship with these consulates have been very fruitful. I visited Israel as part of the Mango Board delegation, and we also signed a MOU with the Israel Chamber of Commerce. We did have the Mango Development Board came to us and said, we would like your help to export mangoes from Karnataka, which is the third largest producer. And we had the Queensland State, Mr. Geetesh, we had the people from the JETRO, and we also had from the Israel Trade Commission, all of them, and the ZEC Trade Commission, they helped us in identifying as to how we can take it forward, and also the Victorian. After this, our visit to Israel was very fruitful, and I'm sure that a lot of business will happen in the future. Similarly, we had very excellent support from the Japanese consulate. The Consul General is here, Mr. Kitagawa. He was a person who launched the business language, Japanese business language course, and I can tell you, with his good wishes, sir, on the 26th of last month, our courses have started. We have about 20 students learning Japanese. I think that is, for a beginning, it's fantastic, and I am very grateful to you for launching that, and we hope that more and more students take the benefit of these Japanese language courses, and I am told that it is the first of its kind by any chambers of this particular teaching course. And secondly, after this, we did have a delegation to Taiwan, and Taiwan Industries Association mentioned to us that they can help us in also getting a teacher for Chinese language, and I think that would be the next language which would take it forward. Our senior vice president, I'm sure, will see, because China and India have a fantastic relationship in terms of business, and I'm sure that this language course also will be started shortly. As far as French and German, I know you have the Alliance franchise and the Goethe Institute, but we wanted to start off with these two languages. And in fact, we also had a big delegation from Nagano Prefecture for promotion of investment in their prefecture. We also would like to mention to you that the ZEC, the Trade Commissioner, was also came along with the B2B meet on the 26th. The ZEC Trade Commissioner has requested us to announce that they would like to jointly organize a B2B meeting from 26th to 30th of November 2018 in the industrial sector. Mr. Ivan Komenik, the ZEC Trade Commissioner, is now in ZEC and he specially asked me to announce this particular event. Similarly, we had a 20-member delegation from Taiwan with whom we are associated for the forthcoming Smart Asia event. This particular event will be, we will be associated with this particular event, and I am sure many of our members will be greatly benefited by this exhibition. We also had very good interactive sessions with the Swiss Council, MIDA, that is the Malaysian Investment Development Authority, and then the other institutions who had come here to have an interaction with FKCCI. As far as the international trade is concerned, I would also like to mention that FKCCI, I led 2 delegations, one to Oman in Muscat and then another to Tehran. These 2 conferences were basically, we got an invitation from the governments for us to be a part of it for the investment promotion there, and it was, I would say, particularly an eye-opener for me. I could see Iran on one side. Within 2 months, I saw Israel and I saw Oman, and I feel all these countries, particularly Iran, I was really surprised at the type of development they have. And as far as Israel is concerned, I am sure that we are just going to have a lot more interactions and help from the today, because of Sabat, and I think the Israeli Trade Commissioner Dana Kush could not come. Another point which I would like to mention to all of you is, I wanted a help from your side, is about the FKCCI Center of Excellence for Skills. We have purchased about 1.6 acres of land at Doverspet, where we had a puja on 20th of June. This center will be basically for Industry 4.0, skilling in Industry 4.0. As you all know, this is the latest in skilling, and it's very essential for us to be in the front before others follow. This center can conduct regular exposure workshops and lectures by professionals and experts. I would look forward. I did have some discussions with some of our members here, with Fraunhofer Germany, with Victorian also have suggested a company, an organization who can help us. I would look forward if you can suggest us a good organization where they can train or be a part of our skilling center, and we can see that we can get more and more the engineers or our students who can get skilled. As you all know, Karnataka has taken the lead as the number 1 state for not only attracting FDI, but also has become a hub for startups. We hope this FKCCI Skill Center will play a catalytic role. We seek help from all of you to see that this particular skilling center will be something where we should be proud of. In fact, we have also talked to the government. Yesterday we had the Deputy Chief Minister and the Skilling Minister at the FKCCI for the SCSR conference, and they have promised us to give some support in the budget. I am also happy to mention to you the recognizing the service delivery. FKCCI received an international award 2018 from the Asia Pacific Chamber of Commerce at the award ceremony held in Malaysia. There were chambers from 57 countries participating in this competition. So this was one of the achievements of the chamber this year. Sir, I just would like to also mention to you that it was during our FKCCI has inaugurated Agritech Cell. I have given a small brochure to all of you as to what is the object of this Agritech Cell. I look forward that we could do some sort, apart from the regular, the agro processing is one area where a lot needs to be done, and agriculturists do not have a nice platform for them to do exports or whatever. Keeping this in view, Agritech itself was started by FKCCI last month. I am happy that we have already had 2 activities. One, we had the mango mela as mentioned earlier, and also we had a wine tasting session 2 days back, which was I think very well appreciated by everybody. We have also signed an MOU with the Indian Technology Congress for agri-technology incubation and business promotion. Another point which I would also like to mention is we are launching a digital FKCCI portal shortly. We have launched it yesterday, and this is going to have a lot of benefit to our members. 2 decades ago, another industry incubated here and flourished, that is IT. Just the last decade, for a short while, the term I am Bangalore in US meant a person lost his job. The outbound traffic has given way to inbound traffic today. Many foreign nationals are settling in Bangalore and Karnataka. It is now, rather than they proudly say that Bangalore, in fact, the expat population in Bangalore is one of the highest in the country. I state this because all of you who have been a part of the success story of Bangalore and Karnataka, with these few words, I warmly welcome each one of you, and I am hopeful we have a presentation by a few of our countries here, the commissioners, the consulates and the trade commissioners. They will make some presentation. I thought after that, probably we can have a small interactive session. Thank you very much.
That was our president, Mr. K. Ravi. He has a special love for international business and consulars. Thank you, sir. Let me take this opportunity to welcome our Additional Commissioner, Mr. B.V. Rai, Commercial Factories. We'll go to the presentations now. We will have the first presentation by Japan. I think Mr. Takayuki Kitagawa-san will be doing. Sir, you are right. Thank you very much for inviting me today. I myself didn't have any association with the Karnataka Chamber of Commerce until President establishes a Japanese language course 3 months ago, which obliged me to come and speak here, despite my little bit unhealthy feelings now. I was asked to speak about the Japanese interest in Bengaluru. And obviously, maybe everybody saw, it's weather. That's the best thing, which Japanese are very much interested. But 20 years ago, when Toyota established the factories here, there were only one Japanese restaurant and maybe Toyota factory there 20 years ago. And Toyota didn't invest here because of the weather. It wasn't a factor, it wasn't a strategic factor for Toyota to invest here. Actually, it was after Toyota's failure with joint venture with DMC, they found that they have to have a close relationship with Kirloska's headquarters, and they considered Bengaluru and Hyderabad, and at that time Bengaluru infrastructure was a little bit better than Hyderabad. So that's the reason why Toyota founded the factory here. Ever since that, we now have the 500 Japanese companies and 1,300 Japanese experts.
and the total amount, accumulated total amount of investment is about 3 billion US dollars so far. And of course, with this big amount of investment, there's some influence culturally and also working ethics as well. And some of the working ethics I may introduce Toyota's 5S, and also you follow the rules. That's the most important thing in Japanese factories. And perhaps you may see still, if you walk around in the town, still you may see people who don't follow the rules. But at least in Toyota, they introduced this Japanese culture, and 5S meaning sorting and putting things in order all the time and cleaning, shining, that kind of things. Now that's working ethics. And second, the Japanese restaurant also increased from 1 to 7, that's pure Japanese restaurant. And if you include Asian restaurant, including Japanese, that comes to already 20. So, and in addition to that, those who have been to Japan may know there is a sento here. It's very, very rare to have a sento. Sento is a public bath, and or you may say hot spring, and that is in Bengaluru. And also there's a traditional Japanese wagashi maker. Wagashi is a traditional Japanese sweets. That's also extremely rare to find it in India. Actually, that's the first Japanese wagashi maker in India. So most of the Japanese expats, they are staying here. They live here quite comfortably, and most of them come here with families. Normally we don't come. I mean, most of us. Normally when they order to come here, it's very difficult to bring their families. But here, most of them they come with their families. That's why a lot of international school flourishes, and Japanese school also flourishes. And well, basically, people are happy to be living here. Now, as far as the investment is concerned, about 40% of the Japanese investment in town is in manufacturing, and 60% of the investment is IT, finance, and hospitals, and those service industries. Now, this was a trend so far, but if you look at the startup investment last year, 2017, Japanese investment ranked #1, which recorded the $5 billion US dollars, followed by US and the Chinese. And once Japanese wake up, because 2016, the Japanese startup investment was only $300 million US dollars. It was far beyond this rank #1. So in 1 year time, the investment increases 13 times to India. Well, thank you very much. And and I don't know this investment went to, and my guess is that I don't feel much that new startup Japanese investment is in Bengaluru, because we don't have the direct flight from Tokyo to Bengaluru, and our direct flight goes to Delhi and Mumbai, and those $5 billion US dollars might have gone to Delhi and Mumbai. That's my guess. So it's best thing is to bring, with your efforts as well, I'm also making efforts to bring the direct flight from Tokyo to here. Then you will definitely benefit from our investment. Now, well, because of this trend, we had the Japanese cabinet minister of economy, Mr. Seko, who visited Bengaluru this April. And what he has announced was that he will establish startup hub with JETRO. And now this startup hub actually arrived, and he's looking for a house now. But this startup hub arrived, and he came from the Ministry of Economy, and he's going to be in the section of startup in JETRO. And what he's going to do is basically ordinary startup things, like job fairs. You might know that we do have a huge number of IT engineers demand, more than 2 lakhs, and in other service sectors maybe 3 lakhs more in demand. And he will do the competition, and also he will bring in the Japanese startup companies to Bengaluru to collaborate with the Indian startups for the future. And of course, venture capitalists will come in. I'm sure that many of the other countries have been doing this, but we are latecomers, and we just started, and we woke up, and we are doing startup right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I request our President, Mr. Ravi, to kindly hand over a moment or two. Gautier, Mrs. Sherody Kexier, John Francois Ambrosio, to present our France.
September 2017, so it's been almost 10 months, almost 1 year. I learned a lot. It was my first contact with India. Before that, I was based in Brazil for a few couple of years, almost 10 years. No, it's not this one. It's not this one. Okay, so over the last 10 months, I learned a lot about India, about doing business in India, about opportunities for our companies, and as I was telling you, it has been great so far. What we do at the Trade Commission, we help French companies to come to India, to export to India, to set up activities in India, but we also help Indian companies to go to France and to invest in France. And we have a third activity that's growing a lot. We are in charge for the French government of the Young Talent Program called VIE, where we help French companies to contract young graduates that we can send to their subsidiaries abroad and keep them and train them during 2 years with some tax subsidies and some help from the French government. I could have tell you tonight about what we do at the Trade Commission. We organize delegations, trade delegations. On the first semester of 2018, we had here in Bangalore delegations in aerospace. We brought also delegations in the franchising sector, in cybersecurity. And on the second semester, we'll have delegations on startups and delegations on hospitality. We also help, as I told you, Indian investors to go to France, and we organize visits for them in the main cities like Paris, but also in the south of France or in Britain. So I could have told you about what we do at the Trade Commission, but I prefer, since my first time here, to speak about what French companies have been doing in India, and more specifically in Bangalore. As you might know, the relation between France and India is old. It started in the 17th century with French hunters. One of them in Pondichéry. And in France, French have a very kind relation with India and a kind regard to India, we really love this country, and our companies are really proud to invest and to work here. Nowadays, we have up to 500 French companies in India. Most of our big companies, what we call CAC 40, actually 38 of them are in India and are doing business in India. The last two are starting to analyze the market and might come to India in the next couple of years. We have corporates, but we also have SMEs and startups. And our companies nowadays are investing in New Delhi, in Bombay, Bangalore, Chennai, but also Hyderabad and Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities. Those companies represent approximately 300,000 jobs and have an annual turnover around 15 billion euros per year. This represents a total amount of 15 billion euros investment in India, and this amount is increasing every year. Last month, for example, French company Teleperformance invested $1 billion and bought a company called Intelnet Global, based in Mumbai, but with a big facility here in Bangalore. And beginning the end of last year, Altran, a big engineering French company, bought also a big company here in India and invested a few $100 million in the Indian market. Just a few of our companies, as you can see, we are in engineering, we are in new technology, in gaming, in energy, hospitality, in automotive with Renault, Nissan. Renault has a great car here in India that was developed specifically for the Indian market called the Quid. But we are also in logistics with FM Logistics. That bought a company a few years ago and now has more than 80 warehouses in India, Michelin, and newcomers like PSA, Peugeot, that plans to start selling cars in India by 2020. Speaking about the localization of our companies in India, so they are mainly in Mumbai, the headquarters are mainly in Mumbai, then in Delhi, and Bangalore is the third location for French headquarters in India. Speaking about R&D centers, Bangalore is the city of choice for most of the French companies, since, as you can see, 7 of close to 20 R&D centers that French companies have in India are based here in Bangalore. Speaking more specifically about Bangalore, so we have nowadays close to 150 subsidiaries in Bangalore in the state of Karnataka. This represents 50% of French headquarters in India, and our companies in Bangalore are working in aerospace, in IT, services, in tourism, banking, retail, electronics, automotive, animation, etc. Some of the leaders, French leaders that are right now working in Bangalore, as you can see, Capgemini, Airbus, Atos, Technicolor, Schneider, but also Société Générale ou Decathlon have selected Bangalore to set up their activities in India and to develop their activities in India. So it's really diversified, it goes from small entities to entities that are employing more than 30,000 people in Bangalore. That's the case of Capgemini. I also selected a few examples of what our companies are doing in Bangalore to innovate, but also to create new technology for the Indian market, but also for international markets. First of all, what our companies are doing in Bangalore, they create jobs, opportunities. That's the case of Capgemini, as already told, we have 30,000 people in Bangalore, with a big campus in Whitefield, but also Atos with more than 20,000 people working for Atos here in Bangalore. Our companies are also deeply involved in the Make in India program. That's the case of Schneider Electric. Schneider has been elected over the last couple of years as one of the main exporters from the state of Karnataka. Schneider has right now more than 15 factories in Bangalore and in the region of Bangalore. And from Bangalore export to more than 15 countries in the world. So Schneider has Bangalore as their export hub, but Schneider is also settled in Bangalore R&D center and employs right now more than 1,200 people in Bangalore to develop technology for the Indian and international market from India. L'Oréal is another example of a French company that is innovating in Bangalore. L'Oréal opened a few years ago, in 2014, R&D center in Bangalore. It's based in Whitefield, and right now this R&D center employs more than 100 engineers, and we are working on new solutions, new cosmetics for the Indian population, but also for Asian population. Our companies are also deeply involved in training new talents and are working on this with the state of Karnataka. That's the case of Dassault Systèmes, who launched a few months ago a Center of Excellence in Aerospace and Defense, with the objective to train up to 1,200 students per year and to create new talent and the future of the aerospace industry here in Bangalore. We also are deeply involved in promoting new sectors in the state of using Bangalore as an international hub. For example, in animation and virtual reality, there is a company called Technicolor that has right now 3,500 people in Bangalore. And Technicolor is, with the state of Karnataka, promoting Bangalore as the national platform for animation, virtual reality, and special effects. Our companies are also investing in the startup ecosystem. We have a few startups that have selected Bangalore to work in India, but we also have a few corporates that are working closely with startups, and they are creating new technology or solving problems using the efficiency of Indian startups. That's the case of Société Générale. Société Générale, as you might know, is one of the biggest bank in France. They have 6,500 people working in Bangalore, close to 1,000 in Chennai. And since 2016, they have launched an acceleration program called Catalyst, where they ask Indian startups to work on a few problems Société Générale is facing in India, but also in the world. The third season of Catalyst has been launched a few weeks ago. And another example is what Airbus is doing in Bangalore. Airbus chose Bangalore in 2016 to open its third incubation program, incubation facility. It's on Church Street. And so after Toulouse and Hamburg, Bangalore was selected to receive this Airbus BizLab program. The third season is on its way. And as you might know, on the right side of the slide, last year Airbus signed its first contract with two startups from Bangalore. One is called NUI. It's on a learning machine and artificial intelligence. And Airbus signed an international contract, and the technology of NUI will be used in all the factories of Airbus in the world. So it's a good example of how companies can work with startups. And finally, we also have an incubator called Numa that's also based in Church Street that is working with Indian startup, but is also working closely with the city and with the state of Karnataka to solve problems like in mobility, in pollution, or in smart city. So that's just a few examples about what France and India have been doing over the last couple of years. The partnership is good, it's increasing a lot, and we hope that our companies will continue to invest in this country that has been so good and so nice with us so far. Thank you.
I'm not even sure I deserve the memento as I didn't say anything, but I'll do it anyway.
Mrs. Elodie, please here, please. The companies are here. How many of them are FKCCI members? If not, they are not members, I would request kindly make them the members here so you can have a better platform to discuss. Thank you. I would like to recognize the presence of Mr. P. Ravi Kumar. Ravi Kumar sir, thank you sir. He is from NSIC. And Dr. Alok Danan Sadhu, he is the group manager, General Manager of Content Corporation of India. Thank you sir. We call upon Mr. Eric Robinson from Canada, Consul Senior Trade Commissioner Canada. Please.
I think I've got a very hard act to follow. We don't have, Canada doesn't have anywhere near the number of companies that Japan has or that France has. We haven't created the number of jobs here that France has or Japan has. So I was going to talk about quite a few things, but I think we'll just skip right to our secret weapon. So, you all know our Prime Minister Trudeau, who came to India earlier this year on a ill-fated mission to promote Canada-India ties. The press very quickly turned sour on the visit, unfortunately, but the visit was actually very positive. This is what you all saw. This is what actually happened. Our Prime Minister visited 5 cities. He had 78 different events. 10,000 people attended events with him. He only dressed in Indian clothes 4 times, but that's all we saw. He and Prime Minister Modi agreed on a way forward to try and strengthen our relationship, to perhaps put us eventually in the same league as some of the other countries that are here this evening, including a 4-point plan on growth and prosperity, women's empowerment, defense and security, and sustainable development. He also, while he was here, announced over $1 billion in deals between Canada and India, witnessed the signing of 66 new commercial contracts, and for the first time ever in our history anyway, all of the 6 chambers of commerce that are actively engaged in promoting Canada-India ties worked together to promote a couple of business forums that over 1,000 people attended. During the visit, he announced a $250 million of Indian investment into Canada, and 3 times that, $750 million worth of investment the other way. We also announced a number of other initiatives, partnerships between academia, partnerships between startups and so on. It seems we all have a photo of our prime ministers together to share, but I'll just cut to the chase really, in that the priority sectors that we're working on here are there for you. I think many of the countries, many of the partners that are engaged with India are looking at the same sorts of areas: ICT, AI, Internet of Things, defense, the automotive space, aerospace, education, clean tech, life sciences, infrastructure. No surprises there. The ones that I've highlighted in red are the ones that we're going to see a Canadian mission visiting India this year. Unfortunately, as you probably saw in France's slide, a lot of the activity is focused on the north, and we here in Bangalore struggle to encourage Canadians to come to this part of the world. So hopefully, by engaging with your chamber, that's something that we can take care of. The other thing that we're focusing on a great deal, as with some of my other colleagues here, is startups. We've taken a slightly different tack in that we've created a program in Canada to help bring Indian startups, and in fact global startups, Indian startups who are ready to take their innovations globally or to North America. So we've created a program that helps to facilitate that, and we're working a great deal to promote that, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody about that afterwards. We're also focusing on people-to-people ties. No surprise again that, well, maybe it is a surprise, that the third most common spoken language in Canada after English and French is Punjabi. So we have 1.3 million Canadians of Indian descent. 300,000 Indians visited Canada last year. We're seeing tremendous increases in demand for student visas. A lot of Indian students are traveling to Canada now to study, so applications are up 100% this year, and that's following a 100% increase over last year. That is also causing a lot of interest from Canadian academia to come here and work with partners. And the last point, we're also trying to promote more arts, sports, and cultural activities, and for the first time, Canada will have a professional T20 cricket league getting started with 6 teams, I believe, in Canada this summer in July. So that's all. I'm just going to try and keep it short and maybe talk to some of you more over dinner. So thank you very much.
Sure that because with this T20 cricket, certainly I think there will have a lot of more interaction with
We had the occasion of the FKCCI delegation meeting your Prime Minister, the earlier Prime Minister.
May I call upon Mr. James Goldberg, Deputy Head India Science and Innovation Network, Britain. Please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed for the opportunity to talk to you. So, I was asked by the British Deputy High Commissioner a few weeks ago, given he's flying back to the UK this evening, if I'd be willing to come and talk to you. No, I don't have a presentation, so no need to worry. Yes, at the point that I said yes, I thought, well, that's a nice thing to do. It turns out that it's one of those development opportunities that the more you find out about it, the less enthusiastic you should possibly be. So I'm slightly embarrassed to say that I don't have a presentation slide deck. I'm clearly, as the Deputy of the India Science and Innovation Network, not going to be all over all of the trade statistics that many of my colleagues from the diplomatic community have dazzled you with this evening. But I think I still just about have some relevance in terms of standing up in front of you and can tell you a little bit about what we're looking to do as the UK and how and why it's relevant to you as a Karnataka-focused audience. So, as you will all know, Prime Minister Modi went to the UK very recently, back at the end of April. He visited the UK for bilateral meetings, but also to participate in the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, which were in London. And that was exciting for us. It was exciting for 2 reasons. One, because of obviously the bilateral. Secondly, because the last few Commonwealth Heads of Government meetings haven't had Indian Prime Ministers attending. And one of the UK's objectives in hosting the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting this year was to try and re-energise that relationship, no doubt in part because of our Brexit, but to re-energise that relationship, and to do that it was absolutely vital to us that India started to see the Commonwealth in the same way that we, the UK, perceive the Commonwealth as an important partnership, something that is forward-looking, not looking back to the colonial past. Key then, as we planned for all of this, was to make both the Commonwealth and the bilateral seem relevant to India, a country which obviously dwarfs us in population many times over. And we identified fairly on in our planning that technology was absolutely going to be at the heart of that. And if technology is at the heart of that, then we're better to be talking about it, but here in Bengaluru and in the state of Karnataka. So our two Prime Ministers announced in London a couple of months ago a new technology partnership, and to make that work, the UK is putting not massive amounts, but still sizable amounts of government money in over the next couple of years. So we're going to be spending between 15 and 20 million pounds just to make this work, so priming money to make this partnership tick. And the key element of that partnership that has Karnataka relevance is something called a cluster partnership, where we are looking to build a bridge between Karnataka state and what we call in the UK the Northern Powerhouse. So the swathe of cities in northern England that runs on one side from Liverpool in the west through Manchester, Leeds, and on to Hull in the east. And that's where a huge, as many of you will know, huge amounts of historic UK manufacturing took place. And why? What are we going to do with that cluster partnership? Well, we're going to focus it exclusively on AI and big data, areas that we think Karnataka has lots to add value to the UK, but also where we've got interesting and innovative research going on in that part of the country that has application back here in India. It's going to be one of two cluster partnerships. The other one is going to be between Maharashtra and the Midlands of the UK, become buzzword-tastically known as the Midlands Engine. And the Midlands Engine partnership with Maharashtra is perhaps unsurprisingly therefore going to be focused around future mobility and thinking about electric vehicles and ways in which we can transform our transport, reduce emissions and so on. Those cluster partnerships are also going to be supported by a number of other initiatives, and the one that I particularly want to flag to you this evening is one called a Future Manufacturing Centre. I don't know how many of you are familiar with how UK government supports businesses in the UK, supports the startup community and those looking to make de-risk risky investments, if you like. But we have a network that we call, of centres that we call catapults, and we want to bring that catapult network to India. So we are going to establish, or are looking at options as to how we can, working with Niti Aayog, as to how we can best establish a catapult that will have a physical presence here in India to help support and facilitate those trade flows, to identify where the opportunities are in both countries. Some of that will obviously be Karnataka focused, and help businesses to move in both directions to support startups here to find markets in the UK for their technologies and application and make that work to transform British business and to act as a turnkey. We're going to be looking at things like lightweighting, composite materials. We're going to be looking at ways in which the supply chain here in India can support British business to grow, and we can in turn support India. The last thing that I want to tell you about that came out as part of this technology partnership is that we're going to be hosting another tech summit. We hosted the first UK-India Tech Summit in 2016. We're going to host another one. I anticipate it's mooted to be in November, shortly after Diwali. Date hasn't yet been finalised, but what we're looking to do with that tech summit is to showcase the collaboration that's going on between the UK and India, highlight where we've got particularly innovative products, and hopefully use that as a sort of convening power to bring new potential investors to India to talk about how and where they might get involved and how we can again accelerate the mutual benefits of collaboration. We're at the moment no firm plans, but I would strongly anticipate that there will be some sort of satellite activities that will take place down here in Bengaluru And regardless, I hope that some of you in the room will have an interest in travelling to what I think will be the showcase event in Delhi, and I will, through the President, keep you all informed with that sort of evolving thinking. But thank you once again for inviting me to talk to you. I'm very happy to take questions over the
Thank you, Mr. James Goldberg. Nice hearing about the clusters and the EA and that. One thing I just wanted to see, you said only the dates about the technical summit in India, but which place you did mention?
Bangalore. The main showcase will be in Delhi. I think we're looking, but it's far from certain, to the venue that hosted the Commonwealth Games boxing. I don't remember the name of that stadium, but there is a smaller stadium in Delhi that hosted the Commonwealth Games boxing, with satellite events then probably here in Hyderabad and in
yeah, if it could be done in Bangalore, I think Mr. Manohar was telling we have our Devi Ravi here, from the government sector will be helping. He was telling that. So this is the choice, Bangalore may be a choice for the hosting.
Option is available.
Thank you, sir. Can you call upon Mr. Gitesh Agarwal, our good friend, Trade and Investment Commissioner, Queensland, Australia.
Before I even greet everyone, I think there must be a method to the funnel system. So it starts with the biggest investors, Japan, goes down to France, and then to Britain, and then to us.
We didn't plan that.
And it looks like it. And going all over the world, I think me and my subsequent colleague, Michelle, we will take you to the end of the corner of the world. But Namaskara Bangalore, Konnichiwa to Japan. We get the scene to my German colleagues, Kamantalve to France and Canada, and good evening to everyone here. My name is Gitesh Agarwal, and like my fellow colleague from France, even I'm 7 months old over here, came in September end. I am mixed breed, you could call it, Indian, but with an Australian angle. I represent interesting state of Australia called Queensland, and yes, we don't have the Opera House or the Flinders Station in Melbourne, but we do have the globally needed Great Barrier Reef and the leisure and pleasure city of Gold Coast. It's a quick presentation. I'm not going to be able to share statistics of the role there has been of Queensland companies in India and Karnataka, because we are what you would call the bread and butter or rocks and crops state that makes the engines move for industry and the stomachs churn with food. So we, on a large extent, are responsible for almost 80% of India's steel production by the sheer supply of probably the highest grade of met coke in the world. Who we are? So we are the Trade and Investment Queensland, an arm of the Queensland government, the business agency. We report to our Premier, who is also the Minister for Trade, and we are present in 12 countries with 15 offices, and we encourage engagement between businesses to businesses, government to government, institutions to institutions, and all the cross-sections thereof. Where we are, so I'll put some numbers in black, but I'll signify that why. So we are the Vastu correct state of Australia, we are the northeast. We are the entire quarter of Australia, almost from Madhya Pradesh to Kanyakumari by the sheer size of it. It's about 48% of India. But with only, on May 30th, we struck 5 million as the population. Before that, the number below that is 4.83. So Queensland is about 5 million, that's about half of Bangalore in legal terms. But as a GDP, we punch above our weight. We are bigger than New Zealand, we are bigger than Vietnam, we are bigger than Portugal. So at $301 billion, it's a large GDP by a single subnational state. We are also very large in exports, and that figure went away from 58 below in red to $70 billion about 2 months ago. Yes, we do bring Japan in our presentation. We are 5 times the size of that Japan. We also have Great Britain. We're about 7 times Great Britain. Almost every third person in Queensland is a migrant, and it is the second largest state in Australia, but the greener one. On the west, which is our colleague Western Australia, has a lot of desert. We are on the east, and we have a lot of greenery. We are growing at a very fast pace. We are a tropical partner, so if you were to go to Queensland, you would not miss the weather, whether you're from Bombay, Chennai, but not definitely from Delhi. Interesting statistic there that the average growth of Australia over the last 20 years has been about 2+%, but Queensland has far outstripped the national average at about 3.8%. Very interestingly, the second graph on the right, the diverse economy with no industry contributing more than 10% to the economy. Brisbane is the capital city, dubbed as the New World City, voted as one of the 4th best in the world for investment strategy. And if you look at the economy of a single city at 146 billion, and likely projected to increase by 50% almost to 217 billion by 2030, you know where you're going to expand your business and call home if you were to migrate. Population is likely to grow by again 50%, 44%. There's a lot of investment going in infrastructure, and the building on the right side, the black color one, that's our headquarters or where the Premier sits. And that beach, by the way, is in the middle of a city. It is not out there on the ocean side. The priority sectors, quickly, I'll just get one slide each. We focused on food and agri, mining and resources, urban infrastructure, and of course education and training. Below that, and superimposing everything else, is a project called Advanced Queensland, which is a $518 million effort by the Premier and the Government of Queensland to develop new industries like biofutures, advanced manufacturing, aerospace, defense, and of course mining. Quick glance at the primary industries. We do produce 1/3 of Australia's major crops. I had a video which showed we produce probably more wheat than Arizona, more cattle than Texas, and farms as big as countries. You have to accept that 48% the size of India and 83% of that is agrarian. So that's almost 144 million hectares of land under cultivation. It is the second most important export commodity, and if you ever enjoyed a chickpea or moong dal, remember it probably came from Queensland. And of course there's a lot of processing that goes around. There are a lot of best practices because of that. There's farm management, there's post-harvest, pre-harvest, grain handling. And if you've ever enjoyed a packet of chips, whether it came from Lay's, Bingo, or Balaji wafers, it was processed on Queensland machinery. Mining and resources, we are the largest exporters of seaborne coal, and probably now, I'm using the word probably, the second largest exporter of LNG. We are also top 5 in lead, bauxite, zinc and silver, and almost 800 companies in that sector are out there trying to add value to the mining industry across the world, from Latin America to South Africa to Mongolia to Europe to Russia and of course to India, Indonesia. It's all about sustainability and how we mine it with more safety, both for humans and for the land that is excavated and exploited. These are some of the services that Queensland brings in across, so a lot of focus on safety, sustainability and rehabilitation, and at the same time maximization of the product from the ore. Education is a very strong sector for Australia, and my fellow colleague who will come after me will also espouse and echo that sentiment. Indians have been choosing Australia as one of their preferred destinations to study across higher education, vocational education, and beyond masters into doctoral. We are home to 10 world-class universities. We also have been partnering universities in India across with hubs for, there's a recent partnership by University of Queensland with IIT Delhi for about, I think, 100+ PhD scholarships. It's a well-earned reputation. The industry and academia partner very well on research, and out of that research comes two things: people who matter to the industry and products and services that can make a change. Some examples I have shared there: MRI, 75% of all MRI scanners in the world use this technology developed by University of Queensland, and Gardasil, a drug co-invented by Professor Ian Fraser, which is a cervical cancer vaccine. Of course, Scramjet, nanopatch down there by Vaxxus in America, partnering with universities in Queensland, will change the way you take an injection. So if you're ever scared of the needle, no more being scared of the needle. Patch goes on your skin, rub it, and the vaccine is absorbed by your skin. Urban infrastructure. Queensland is a city based around a river, is not immune to vagaries of nature, was flooded not too long ago, came back in shorter span of time than we would imagine. So urban planning and infrastructure is a strong point from Queensland, some of the best stadiums in India, from Commonwealth Games in Delhi to D.Y. Patil to Motera and Ahmedabad have been designed by companies in Queensland. Water, sometimes we don't value water in India, but in Australia it is extremely rare a resource, even though it's surrounded all over. So water management and its waste and rehabilitation is a strong point. Transport management systems, though I wonder if we will ever make a difference to Bangalore. It is very much an impressive system there. We had the KSRTC and BMTC MDs go down there, and they were very, very impressed with what they saw. Aerospace, we have, yes, so we can make an announcement. We do have a company from Brisbane in Bangalore, manufacturing and finishing of parts that go into Lockheed Martin and Boeing and fighter jets across the world. Healthcare and biotech, again, while we are in Bangalore, it's a 14-year-old office, but because pharma is a strong point here, and Queensland is the world's, it has a reputation of being the world's fastest in clinical trials phase 1 and 2, so maybe there is an opportunity for pharma to marry Queensland much more closely. Finally, a last slide of the beautiful Queensland, and if I can click on it and leave you with a nice recent video done by Tourism Australia, but biased towards Queensland. Just give me a minute. Is there a sound there? Yeah. Thank you, Arigato, Mercy, Pakistan, and Tumba Dhanyavadalu.
Yes, I want to assure you, when we made the program, we never thought that you were there. We just went by the thing and we put Japan like that. But only one thing we did, we put Michelle Madam, that I always. Thank you, can you call upon Madam Michelle? Wait, please. She is the Commissioner South Asia Trade and Investment, State Government of Victoria, Australia. In fact, she was there day for yesterday also during our export award function, which made our function more colorful.
Okay, you're probably wondering a bit sort of why we've got this state government presence from Australia, but one of the things I'll talk about in my presentation is the fact that since I've been up here over the last 10 months, one of the things that I've come to find is that Australians are relatively familiar with India, and we have a lot of Indians in Australia, but it's not necessarily the other way around. So we find that Indians tend to look north, they look to the UK, they look to the US, they look to Canada, and we really want you to think about some of the specifics of Australia and then our individual states, of why the smaller market of Australia might actually be an interesting one to do business with. So my name's Michelle Wade. As I said, I've been here for about 10 months now. I actually I've been to India a couple of times for work, but my unique engagement with Indian culture is I actually grew up in a village in Australia which has more Indians per capita than any other place in Australia. So it was a town of 3,000 people. I reckon I went to school with more Varinda Jaswinda Saranjit Surjits than any of you guys. My school was 1 in 4 kids from the Punjab, and quite a model of multiculturalism for Australia in the 1970s and 80s. So having served with Austrade in Italy, Spain, Malaysia, this chance to pay homage to this community I grew up beside was just such a great opportunity for me to come to India. So I'm just going to give 4 slides tonight, give you a little bit of familiarity, as I said, with Australia and put Victoria into context with that. So Australia, it's only 25 million people, which is, half the size of Karnataka, but its GDP is about half the size of the whole of India, at 1.66 trillion. It's a large continent, similar size to the USA or China. But what is most exciting about Australia, and what people don't often realise, is it has the longest continued economic growth of the modern world. So to put that in context, we sort of hit this economic milestone about last September. The Economist wrote, "The last time Australia suffered a recession, the web browser had just been invented, and Bryan Adams topped the charts." I had to look back at what that song was, but if any of you are wondering, it was Everything I Do It For You from the Robin Hood movie. What it says though also is in those 26 years since the last recession, Australia navigated the Asian financial crisis, the collapse of the dot-com bubble, the Great Recession, largely without scars. It had a once-in-a-generation mining boom, which ended in 2014. So we don't want you to think that the Australian economy is just surviving on rocks and crops. In fact, when you look at the post-2014 results for Australia, it's had a lot to do around the diversification, the economic management, and the financial stability, as well as its ability in the services industry. From the perspective of Victoria, it's a small by size, but large by input. So it's an economic powerhouse, 3% of the land mass, 24% of the GDP, and 35% of the tertiary students. It's got a AAA credit rating, which it's had for over 10 years, and an economy larger than Singapore or New Zealand. It's predicted to be, Melbourne, the capital, is predicted to be Australia's largest city by 2030. Sydney is currently that city. Something that we're really proud of from Victoria is it's been voted the world's most livable city for 7 years running. Becomes a very, when you're carrying these economic statistics, you're carrying these sort of awards, they become a little bit nerve-wracking as they come up each year, but this has to do with the planning of the city, the safety and security for its citizens, and its engagement with its citizens. It's also been voted the world's sporting capital, and that has to do with our sports infrastructure, but also the major events that we host. And of course, you all know the cricket, also Grand Prix, the tennis, the major golf tournaments. And with that brings a degree of capability. It brings capability in sports infrastructure, sports management, and sports technology. We've got major corporate headquarters there, like ANZ, NAB, Australia Post, are the sorts of companies that a lot of our Indian investors are working alongside. So some of the Indian investors who are doing well down there is the likes of Infosys and Wipro, who both have their headquarters there, Sun Pharma, Zomato, Ramco. Infosys and Wipro have both told me that Australia is in their top 5 markets globally. So again, don't underestimate the size of Australia or its population size. It achieves beyond its scale. It's also life sciences hub. About 40% of the research spending is in Victoria. E-commerce hub is what's emerging now. And proudly we have 40,000 Indian students in Victoria, which is double the size of the next closest state, and Australia's largest Indian population. In fact, one of the greatest challenges for us right now, and that I'd ask the people connected with government to pursue, is the sheer lack of direct flights between Australia anywhere and India. So we have 300,000 inward arrivals last year. That's growing about 20% per year. We only have 10 direct flights, and they're all out of Delhi. So just to wrap up, Victoria is highly committed to India and to Karnataka. So the state actually launched its own strategy for its relationship with India, and that's largely because the phenomena that is India and Australia is something that's happened over the last 30 years, and the Victorian government wants to recognise that. So talking through the photos that we've got here and what's been taking place in the short time that I've been here, Kiran Mazumdar is actually Victoria's secret weapon. What many of you might not know is Kiran's actually a Victorian alumni, and she did her masters down at what was then Ballarat University, and is now Federation University, and has a Masters of Brewing. She did that in the mid-70s and topped the class. So we're really proud of her as one of our leading alumnuses. The Premier was up here in the second photo. We have an agreement to give you an example with Bluebell's School. Those kids do exchange with kids in Victoria, and we're looking to expand those relationships. We just hosted the Gandhi exhibition taken down from India, and it's currently taking place in Melbourne in the Immigration Museum, and really pulling people from all of the community to celebrate the life and work of Gandhi and to also celebrate the Indian community. Of course, we do speak, it is a bit of a foreign language for me, which is cricket. So it's a language I'm getting familiar with quickly, and here's the Premier talking with Vishan Bedi and our cricketer Dean Jones about the Boxing Day Test, which we'll be hosting in Melbourne this year against India. And we'll be having a festival of cricket celebrating Indian culture at that event for any of you who haven't been tempted by Gatesh's beaches or have and want to tack on a trip for the cricket as well. And of course, we've got cooperation in the film industry, and even had the chance to meet the Big B when I first arrived back in September. So we do want to make the point that Australia is a relevant market. Our states all have their particular nuances, and Victoria is very committed to work with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. A nice presentation about Victoria. Can I call upon Mr. Suresh Raswani, Honorary Consul, Republic of Delhi? Mr. Vikram Vishwanath. Mr. Praveen Goenka. Praveen Goenka is with Rally. Dr. Syed Asad Ahmed, Republic of Maldives. Choi Kotra from Korea Trade Office, Bangalore. Mr. Krishna. Mr. Gopi Shekhar. We had a last presentation by Mr. Deepak Sood. Dr. Joseph from Maldives. We had the last presentation by Moses. He has come now. He has gone now. He has gone now. Yeah, he is coming back at 9 o'clock. Any honorary consul we have forgotten, kindly let us know. Oh, okay, you can take care of it later. But as I was telling, we had the last presentation by Mr. Deepak Sood, who is the CEO of Karnataka Invest Forum. He has just telephoned that he is head up somewhere and then he couldn't make it. So I would request our President-elect Mr. Sudhakar Shetty to propose a vote of thanks and also to summarize this thing on behalf of FKCCI and government. Before that, can I call upon Madam Anna? Indo-German trade, please. Another lady accompanying Anna, please. They are from Indo-German trade association. Over to Mr. Sudhakar Shetty.
Namaskara everybody. Namaskara. This is Bangalore. Namaskara. Good evening to all of you. It's my pleasure to extend a vote of thanks on behalf of FKCCI. Mr. Suresh, one thing I want to clear here. There is no sum up. If I want to do the sum up, I should call Sampath Raman or Shivashanmugam. Because already 8:30, time is closing to the dinner. His Excellency already left Takoyaki Kitagawa, sang at the Consul General of Japan because of the health. Last week's surgery was there. He left early. And France is today, Consul General de France. Mrs. Elodie Texier, Deputy Consul France. Jean Francois is Ambrose's Director Business France. Eric Robinson, Consul and Senior Trade Commissioner. James Garbe, Deputy Head India Science and Innovation Network, then our good friend Geetesh Agarwal, Trade Investment Commissioner, Queensland, Australia. Consulars, honorary consulars, other foreign trade dignitaries from Rwanda, Maldives, Ireland, German, Czech, Victoria, Australia, South Korea, Indo-American Chamber, Indo-German Chamber, and many others. My President, Mr. K. Ravi, here we have a number of my Ravis are here. Mr. K. Ravi, Senior Vice President-elect, Mr. Janardhan,
Chairman International Business Community, Mr. D. Suresh Kumar, I.S. Prasad, Mr. Murthy, who have coordinated today's event, Secretary General, Dr. Prasad, past presidents of FKCCI, MC members, and all distinguished guests from diplomatic missions, government officials, friends from print and media, electronic media, ladies and gentlemen. I am very happy that we had good presentations and the areas of interest which the consulates have with the respect to Karnataka, especially our good friend Japan. He told one thing, Japan is staying in Bangalore very comfortable. It is maybe all consulates, they may agree his points. Wonderful. I would like to sum up by stating that areas of priority for Karnataka were investment, technology and manufacturing. Tie-ups are the required. These are the areas where there are the bottlenecks. This could be potential area for foreign investment and technology. There are infrastructure for high-speed connectivity, both road and rail to the ports, air connectivity and the airports in the Tier 2 cities. FKCCI vision coming future is to develop industrial estate in the every taluka of the 30 districts. To tap the every wide potential, it has an engineering, automobile, IT, medical, electronics, skill development, agri-technology, food processing, education, tourism, aerospace and defense, jewelry, mining, solar, wind power, marine products and fisheries, animal and husbandry, R&D startup and many more. The focus area will be the manufacturing and agriculture, create employment. Also we need private investment banks for the MSME sector. This is an area where foreign entities can play a role. There are many big funding agencies, but MSME sector, there is need to evolve new global strategies. Smart cities and waste management is another area. Dear friends, most of the consulate generals, I have one more idea because next month I am taking charge as FKCCI president. In my first meet, I was thinking, instead of that sum-up meeting, we can have a consulate meet first or second month of July. Then we can exchange the ideas. That is my idea. And sum-up will be in the month of March and April. It is in that case, we have 2 consular meet in next year. And one more thing, we have an idea of ASEAN Chambers meet in Bangalore. ASEAN Chambers meet. That time we need support all consulate and honorary consulars. And my dear friends, FKCCI is the help desk. We have help desk that also especially in the commercial tax department. FKCCI help desk for all the countries. FKCCI representing industry, sales, trade and service sector. You can knock the door anytime FKCCI, we are at your service. And today we have with us number of good friends. One Mr. Bharat Kumar Kutati, he is the regional passport officer. Thank you Mr. Bharat Kumar, you are with us. And Mr. Ravi Kumar is B.V. Ravi, is additional commissioner of commercial tax. Thank you, Mr. Ravi. You are always with us and most supportable person in FKCCI. And Mr. Ravi Kumar is the man behind FKCCI most of the time, Chief General Manager, the NSIC. Where is Mr. Ravi? Ravi Kumar may be outside. And my good friend, I should not forget my good friend, Mr. Dr. Anup Dayanand Sahu, Group General Manager, Container Corporation of India. He is with us. Thank you, Mr. Anup. Number of consulates with us, Mr. Syed Azhar. Thank you, Mr. Syed. You have made your time free here. And Mr. Suresh Vaswani, thank you once again, Suresh. And Gopi Shankar, thank you once again. And Hayosuki Kozai. Once again, all my dear friends, MC members, it is our time. We have to coordinate with all the countries. This is the place, FKCCI. We are with us. We are at your service always. And thank you one and all. You have spared your time. Thank you. Thank you one and all.